Hey all, this is Narcissus. Welcoming back to the two last possible challenge. It skipped the intro, goddammit. The second time it does that. Right, so actually, yeah, we need still to have no encounters on until we do the setup here. So, yes, so we're of course going to be doing this setup, even though there's only going to be a single enemy here. We're going to do the Mega All and Morph setup. I mean, technically, we don't need to have it there, we can have it on the missile instead. Mega All and Morph. We go to the bottom then now. Morph and the Mega All. Oh, you should see, yeah, it becomes, this should be Morph All now, basically. And stuff like that, so yeah, you know, I don't think there's going to be a risk that we're actually leveling up anything here, but, you know, just in case, you know, let's use HP plus, HP plus, magic, luck, and then an all material here. Actually, double cut. But then we just restore and all. Restore and all, and restore and all, and then we restore, and we don't tranquilize here. So here's the thing, right? I looked up some of the where you can actually quote morph into stuff, and right, the main problem is that there's a lot of things that you can morph that aren't morphable anymore, or basically like there's technically only power and guard sources we can get now, unless we want to go down Shinra plane, like the Glinka. We can only get the you know, we can only get power sources and guard sources. Guard sources you can get either from Bangna Drangna, which I believe is the same name as the Mega Man X boss, stuff that's, yeah. I believe technically you don't need to go the full way to the reactor. I believe on this screen you can already get encounters and stuff like that, but yeah. We would want to have enemy lure here though, however later on and stuff that, you know, we would want to have enemy lure here. Pretty certain it's always this enemy, yes. Actually, let's just cure up here just for fun. Yeah, Morphall, we did get Morphall here. Because normally Morph with all material does not work and stuff like that, yeah. So, okay, so one attack isn't enough. But two attacks should be enough, yeah. There we go, change into power source. We don't have we don't have any power increasing thing, unless of course we want a cursoring here. Actually, we can probably get away with cursoring in here, probably. So that would be the first power source here. So we need to get 99 power sources. Actually, let's just go to the reactor so we can have some different music. Yeah, so we can have some chill ass reactor music. Yeah, that's more like it. Change in the power source. So here's the thing: the Bangna Drangna like enemy, right, is the quote-unquote green dragon enemy in the quote-unquote Mount Corel. Now there is a later point also. There is a later enemy that we can also get the thing from, by the way. And you might say that, oh, this shouldn't be allowed because this is specifically no encounter. Sure, you know. But the thing is also that this enemy actually is low enough here that, yeah, there is still quite some XP. I was wrong, I thought that there was only 100 XP, but it's 340, and you get 45 AP and stuff like that, but you see like 340 is very, very little, but yeah. keep in mind that I'm planning to do a playlist for the, you know, the grind spots, unless I have already a playlist for the grind spot thing. Because, you know, I'm doing like grind spots right for Final Fantasy VII. The goal at first was to reach level 99 and meet grind spots, but then I thought that, oh, it makes more sense. It makes way more sense if instead of going for like a specific grind spot, you know, and stuff that. Yeah, so even the normal attack will be enough here. So we should probably just speed it up. Because there's no way that she like ever dies here, you know. Actually, let's keep them in front row so that they get limit breaks quicker here, actually. Yeah. Because of course she will be getting her level 2 limit break eventually as well. And I believe it's the level 2 limit break where you have Blood Feast in the level 2 limit break section, and then in the level 3 is where we have Doom of the Living and stuff like that, which is what she needs. Theoretically also sometimes Claude's, sometimes using Claude's, you know, using Claude's, what do you call it? Using Claude's Meteor Rain is sometimes actually better than using, you know, using the other thing. And I did set up too fast, good. How many do we have? We do have 5 power sources, because of course strength maxes out at 255. She has a lot of strength here, but that is just because of the curse ring. So that's, yeah. Now I believe technically what you want to equip on the character is to equip something like, we want to get the lowest possible bangle that you can get, but of course since we cannot go back and get like an iron bangle or whatever, Titan bangle I believe will be the lowest one we can get, you know. Unless of course there are things we can morph in Midgar that can morph into something really good. I mean, we should just go and like morph a bunch of stuff, because I know that theoretically I believe that most people that have, you know, wait, is this? Yeah, this is level 4 of Restore, good. I was actually very close to mastering one of the armor areas. Because again, if we master something, the thing is, I'm trying to remember correctly, right? Do they allow you to, quote unquote, let's say we have 255 strength, do they allow you to steal resources on that character? Stuff that, or will it like prevent you so you don't waste any sources, you know? Or that's HP plus. So that's level 3 on non-HP plus. Yeah, we did go with all HP pluses here. So give him an HP plus as well, so yeah. He has triple, of course. He has triple growth. And yeah, and of course, we could theoretically, if I really want to, we could get out all the characters' power at this point and stuff that, you know. Will we allow this on the true lowest level possible settings? I mean, it depends on what level that our characters actually are and stuff that, you know. We completely depend on that. I mean, youth isn't super far away from gaining a level from this, because 10 of these will be 3,400 XP if you kill 10 of them. And you know, that might sound like, oh, that's insane or whatever, right? Like, sure. And then like killing 100 will be 34,000 XP and stuff that, you know. But it's just that, okay, that's also, you know, because see, that's the main problem, right? That you need like the sources maxes out at 99. And like, so you're almost getting that 34,000 like XP from doing this and stuff that, you know, so, you know, it is something, but that's just something we're gonna have to deal with and stuff that. But the question is, do we just invest 99 sources into these 3 party members and stuff that? Because theoretically, right, when you fight Emerald Weapon, right, here's the thing, right, limit breaks, I forgot if it's all the limit breaks or if it's specific limit breaks. That has the functionality on Emerald Weapon, it prevents him, or it makes him less likely to use Air Tam Storm, aka Materia Storm, that is 1,000 damage for each material you have. Now, of course, if we quote-unquote, if we would allow ourselves to, for example, grind dexterity sources, or speed sources rather, dexterity sources, speed sources. If we would allow ourselves to grind like speed sources, you know, then things would be very different. Is that because of Magic Plus material? Like, why is MP so high? That is very curious, actually. And yeah, keep in mind that you can start doing this already off the Temple of Ancients and stuff like that. As soon as you have the morph material, you can start. And you can actually morph the eye enemy in quote-unquote, in Temple of Ancients, you can morph the eye enemy. Yeah, and sadly, of course, you cannot face more than one of these tanks at a time and stuff like that, you know. Yeah. But there are a lot of interesting things, of course. We can get the protector rings, of course, from the movers and stuff like that, you know. Which is, of course, very, very powerful and stuff like that, you know. I'm not keeping track, though, of how many we have already. Okay, we have 12 power sources. Because obviously, if you want to find out your real value of what you have, then you would need to buy the quote-unquote standard weapon. And I believe there is a shop in Yunnan that has most of the like standard weapons, stuff like that. And then you equip Titan Bangle, because I believe that Titan Bangle doesn't even give you a magic boost. Maybe it does, because a lot of the armors and stuff like that, you know, give you like a magic boost and stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, so you can see that the conformer actually gets affected by things, but yeah, but then of course with, for example, with Vincent, for example, you can also, with Vincent, you can, for example, if you kill enough, you don't need to kill super many enemies, by the way. If you just grind him up so he can get access to Chaos, for example, like you get the keys needed for Chaos, then already at that point, you would be able to quote-unquote one-shot certain enemies by morphing them. So he can basically fairly quickly get him up to the strength of where you can go into the down Shinra plane, and then you can grind the poodlers and the octopus-like enemies. You can get, what is it, both speed sources and luck sources at the same time. And stuff like that, but yeah. You know, I mean, I would like to try and remain as low level as possible while we do this and stuff like that, you know. The thing is, yes, you can start doing this early, for example. I forgot if gravity on elemental, like if you put gravity elemental, right, does that mean that you have like gravity effect when you attack? Like, does that mean that the attack then reduces enemy health by a certain amount? No. Otherwise, of course, you can, if you have enemy skills, you can use, you know, if you have enemy skills, you can use like level 4 suicide, of course, and what is it? It's laser, right? Laser also has like also has the gravity effect on it. Oh, that is. Wait, that's. What was that again? Huh? It must have been a materia. I think that was the other one there. Or that was, no, that was probably the all materia there. Yeah, probably the all materia. Although it seems like he has slightly less HP now. But maybe it's the damage he has taken as well, so yeah. Because yeah, I remember in the remake how they actually nerfed the HP plus material, how they made it so that, for example, you cannot no longer like stack 2 HP pluses. Like now the maximum you can reach is like 50% max HP increase. But in this, of course, you could quote-unquote I believe it maxes out at 100% more HP or whatever it is. Percentage-wise. Yeah, so now she needs 10,000, which is still fairly low still, you know, like just like 10,610, you know, and stuff like that. So yeah, 17 power sources. So now, one thing that would have been cool if say you have the maximum one item, for example, then the item should like apply to a random character or whatever. Like if it was a source, right? So that, or if you have 99 power source and aim off then another one, then that power source should just be applied to one of the party members, whatever, right? And then maybe it should always get applied to the one that is doing the morphing. But then, of course, once they have like the maximum amount, then it should go to the next character and probably the one that has the highest strength already, you know, stuff like that. Yeah. Because yeah, I've talked about this, for example, that on-game made in Final Fantasy VII like Ultimate, still done in the same graphics, but they add so much more stuff, you know. Because as I've said, because of the way the dialogue is, it makes no sense that the bombing mission would have been the first mission for Claude and stuff that, you know, because of the fact that she asked out, oh, did you fight with Barrett? Or not this time or whatever, right? And stuff that, you know. Like, you only ask that if he has been with on missions with Barrett before, and then maybe not fought alongside him, that, oh, maybe he goes on a mission with Barrett. But then, of course, now you get to defend like Rage or whatever, you know. Something along those lines. Because there's no way that, oh, he used to arrive in Midgar, Tifa found him, and then they immediately like, oh, hey, let's sign him up for the bombing mission and stuff that to prove, you know, he's trustworthy or whatever, you know. But I don't think that was the first thing, how it was supposed to be, you know. In the power source. There we go. Yeah, so the Bagna enemy, I believe, is the one that you see the, what is it, diamond pin from, I think it is, stuff like that. The enemy I'm making, right? Like the green, like dragon-like enemy and stuff like that. That's where you can get gods from. But you can also get it from the spiral enemy. And the spiral enemy, of course, is the things that are very, very close to where Midil is. But I believe you can technically face those enemies already on this one, actually. If you go to a certain very specific place. Where actually you cannot land the wind there because of the terrain, I believe. It's actually pretty funny. The place I mean, the place I showed you with the tiny Bronco back during the side part or whatever, right? And you can get very close to Midil and stuff like that. Like there is a beat that you can land on, stuff that, and then you're below the cliff that goes up into Midil. I mean, it's not really a large cliff or anything, but you know what I mean. But yeah, basically you can face these two enemies there. I believe you can face. I don't think you can face the headhunters there because the headhunters is what is really good for like the XP and stuff there, but you can face the spirals there. The spirals are what gives you the thing. 25 power sources. Meltdown reactor. It's a bit better that you cannot remember the command from like between battles and stuff like that, but because we do have it on memory, right? Yeah. But that's good. That was very quick after then. Because yes, this will also be a slow way for her to get her limit breaks and stuff that, at least get some of it. Now, do we also go for the guard sources is the question, right, and stuff that, Probably not, we probably don't need the guard sources yet, but anyway, Because the main problem is that you can only ever get one right in an encounter, or can you get two of them? Because if you can get two of them, then that just speeds up things tremendously and stuff that. If you can get two of them, because generally there is an encounter where you get one of them and then you get two of the fishes, but then there's also there's like a lot of variations to encounter because you need to go to Mount Corel to get the encounter with it. And it is easy to get the encounter also closer to the Corel reactor and stuff that, so yeah. And there are some other sources that we could have gotten, but then we would have needed to grind for it like way earlier and stuff that, like Whirlwind Maze has two enemies that can drop sources and stuff that. So yeah. And the fact also that most of the sources, like Speed, doesn't have a source until the underwater or the Sunken Galinka plane, which seems rather weird. Like why wouldn't Luck or Speed source have a source outside of that? Right. Why would those sources be so late? Or didn't Dexterity exist as a stat first? Or something like that was it a stat that they thought of much later? Because apparently Zack was added extremely late to the story, which is rather weird. I know that Tifa was added actually pretty late as well, right? But the question is, right, because I do remember that Ares dying was something that was decided like very early on and stuff that wasn't something that was just changed just like that, I do know that Tifa happened pretty late into it. And it was mostly because, okay, now you won't have a girl character unless you, found Yuffie and stuff that, I mean, the thing is that, okay, if you used playing the game casually, then you will most likely, not be grinding in the forest where you can first find Yuffie. It's more likely that you will have encountered Yuffie in she can be in that forest, right? She can be in the forest near you, of course. Where quote-unquote Ultima weapon appears. But it can also be in, the second forest she can show up in, I think is the Nibelheim. Not the Nibelheim forest. It's not the Nibelheim forest, or is it the Rocket Town forest? I think there's a forest near Rocket Town as well. But it might be the Nibelheim forest where she shows up next. I don't think she can show up in the forest near Gongaga though. I forgot all the locations where she can show up. But of course, near the Temple of the Ancient is where she has the highest chance to appear. Which is why you often will get her on the very first encounter in that forest, because most likely, you will get an encounter before you go into Temple of Ancient. But that doesn't always happen, right? You can just get lucky, right? But probably if you're playing the game casually, you want to find out, okay, what's the encounters in this forest, right? You probably want to, see most of the enemies in the game, because what I think about is if there were a speedrun that was see all the enemies or whatever, right? And you need to see all the enemies and stuff that's right. And because there are certain enemies that you only find in very specific places and stuff that, And there are certain enemies, I believe, almost only appear in the battle square or whatever. Or they only appear for a very short while on the overworld. How many is that now? We are at 35 power sources. There's 35 power sources. Claude is at 40 now. That was pretty decent. Right, then you still need around like a little bit above 10,000 now. So that, but here's the thing, right? Eventually you reach a point where you need way more to gain levels and stuff that than use like 10,000 and stuff that, right? Because, you know, it raises exponentially once you reach a certain point. So that HP Plus is very close in getting one more star. We already have 1575 there on the Mega Hull materia. And yes, the movers in Northern Crate, by the way, which gives you no XP. They are the ones that, of course, you turn into protect rings, because we already found it out earlier. So that, you know, other ones we did. But yeah, the movers kind of feel like they're put there, you know, used for you to grind RP and stuff like that. That's a purpose and stuff that. But even with that, they're all like use certain materials that would use take so many battles, even with triple AP weapons. And then the main problem is, okay, like what material do you have on the triple AP weapons? Because I feel like putting certain materials on the triple AP weapons can kind of feel like a waste sometimes. But it also depends on like what you're actually trying to achieve. Are you trying to get like Master Summon or whatever, right? The best thing about something like Master Summon, right, is right that people might say that, oh, it's better used to have the individual material, like having like Knights of the Round and then MP Absorb. But for example, if you have Master Summon and then you equip that with MP Absorb, for example, then every single summon in the summon will absorb MP and stuff that, you know, it's gonna be really good. But then of course, if you have something like Final Attack, for example, you want to have Final Attack Junction, want to have Final Attack equipped like with Phoenix, or to have a single enemy skill that learns the what is it, English Whisper or whatever they call it. Because that basically is casting Revive 2 on a character, so that then you fully revive it, the character with full health and everything. But then that spell is so much cheaper than regular Revive 2. Like, because Revive 2 is pretty expensive and stuff like that. Because you have to realize that 100 battles, as I said, is going to be like, it's going to be 34,000 XP if I calculate things correctly. 40 power sources. Right, a lot of people might say, oh, okay, what's the actual, like, you know, what's the actual quote-unquote point, so to speak, right? Do we use grind 99 power sources for each character and stuff that, right? Do we, you know, like how far do we go with it, you know? Of course, the thing would be, of course, that we would need to have Yuffie in the party every single time, and then we could maybe change the party members around so they don't go too high level. But then, of course, the only party member we can change is we can change out Sid. Stuff that's right. You know, because Claude you cannot remove from the party. That is something like that. Why don't they code that in? Because very clearly you can have someone else other than Claude being control of the party, because we have seen that they can show you controlling Barrett. There is a place where you control Barrett, of course, and walk around with him. We have seen that with Tifa as well, that you control Tifa and you run around with her, and we have seen it with Sid. So there would be 3 possible other characters that could be quote-unquote the party leader, even and stuff like that. It would be Barrett, it would be Sid, and it would be Tifa. And then I just feel like we just change things so much. But it's like oh, why only allow them to be leader during those points, you know, stuff that, you know. But then maybe it's also because then a lot of people would not use Claude. Right? Because yes, Claude is very powerful and stuff that, but that would also make things very interesting, right? But then the dialogue would become strange in the game. Because, I mean, you need Claude in certain cutscenes, right? For the cutscenes to work. That's the main problem, like how would you deal with cutscenes? You know? But I mean, now, right, when you're at, like, if you, for example, let's say you're beating game, right, you will get forced to have Claude, right, at certain points, but then otherwise, you know what I'm saying. So let's use Claude here. You can see this yellow problem on the shoulder, same shoulders Claude has. And then the type of material that the green stuff she's wearing has is the same material as the quote-unquote soldier outfit that Claude is wearing. So I'm guessing, okay, so if she had the same sort of thing that Claude has going on if she would look more similar to her Klaus model look, then that green color would be where all the purple is on this one. Right. But there's also like dark blue soldier ones, and there are technically the soldier first class is actually supposed to be black and stuff like that, but yeah. You know, the soldier suit for the different ranks are like different colors. I forgot if the third class even in the game has the correct color on it and stuff like that, because the third class colors is the dark blue. This is kind of what Claude is wearing. Stuff like that, so yeah. So we have the HP process there, we have the restore being pretty close. And what, remove double cut and put double cut here. I think give Claude one more HP plus. And then Claude, you can use some of your MP. I 46 power sources. Now we have Contractical or Gilly, we have 110,000 now. So we could go and get Ultima now if we really want to. Right, I didn't know that there were that many failure states to the whole, you know, or to the whole, you know, train section, because I'm pretty certain that if you make it to the cortical train itself in the fourth corral, and you fail that, aka if you have too little time, and basically I believe you can do it with 1 minute 30, you can still stop the training time. I believe you can even do it with just 1 minute, but you need to mash basically hard enough, you need to mash basically all the buttons and stuff like that, right? And if you do the thing, and basically if you have like on the timer, if you have time left, right, then you always manage to stop it, whatever it is. Also, we need to be closely looking at. Let me just double check here. Yeah. Because she will of course be getting. She will be getting. She'll be getting. I forgot what is the next one. Is it Blood Feast immediately that you get? He's so cute. The derpy tank. Yeah, that's another level for her. So yeah. How many? 49 power sources. Yeah, it does take quite a while, of course, obviously, so you know. But hey, I mean, you know, the thing is, right, that if you want to try and remain as low level as possible, like this is just what you're going to be doing, right, and stuff like that, right? Because, you know, all the other power sources, there are actually other power sources that you can morph, but all the other power sources are at higher places. There is one in Mount Nibelheim also. I forgot what the enemy is called in Mount Nibel, that also has the power sources. But yeah, I'm pretty certain there was an enemy in Mount Nibel also, so yeah. There's actually a lot of interesting things you can morph. There are actually things that cannot even be stolen that specifically needs to be morphed. But I'm pretty certain also that you can actually morph hero drinks somewhere. But I don't remember where, but yeah. And again, as I've said, since this is 340 and like 10 is 3,400, that means that 100 of them would be 34,000. 34,000, that would be more than like 3 levels. And stuff that, you know, most likely at this point. So what, we have gained 2 levels on her already, so once we're close on getting a 3rd level, we can kind of figure out, like, because of that, because you know how much XP we'll be getting and stuff like that, so yeah, you know. Because she has already gained 2 levels, so once she's close on getting level 4, but maybe you're right, because it's 34,000, right, that's not exactly going to be correct. You know, it's not exactly going to be correct, but still, you know. It just shows you that even if something is like, even if something only gives you this amount of XP, it is still a lot as long as you quote-unquote one-shot the enemy and stuff that, you know. Like if you think about it, this could have been like a grind spot, but this is not even like a good amount of XP and stuff that, you know. As I said, yes, it's only 340, but the fact that even at level 39, right, that yeah, you just kill 100 of these, you know, and stuff that, you know. You know, so yeah. But of course, the fact that it takes a long time, of course, to get the conformers, I think that's a bit annoying. A death penalty, you can actually get death penalty fairly quickly, because of course, you can theoretically already get the chokables with Tifa, because you cannot buy the stables yet until Claude comes back. Oh, there we go. Landscaper is what it's actually called. You know, she gets her Landscaper. It takes all the points there. That's the Earth attack. Landscaper. And actually, damage-wise, technically, if we talk about just, you know, if we talk about things that aren't multi-hitting, then I believe it's all creation is strongest, right? Or is it Cosmo Memory? I think it's either Cosmo Memory or it's All Creation that hits the strongest like attack power modifier. Because All Creation is literally like a god move, basically. Stuff that you would have to be Super Saiyan God to use it. But All Creation is basically supposed to be like the creator of like the tire or whatever, right? You know, because there's you say like, oh, because Leviathan, of course, is just their water, like the scale of the water, you know. Leviathan scales with power water, because that's quote-unquote the water god, but then, like the statues, right, are representing the gods of Butai, whatever. And not all the gods were like war gods or whatever, if I remember correctly. Stuff else, yeah. Because if you think about her limit breaks, right? So first off, she has wrist lighting, attacks opponents with a weapon after cutting them clear tranquil is of course like a really powerful heal. Although of course that does not have lightning damage. Now imagine how Grease lightning was like, okay, it could have lightning damage, but if an enemy would absorb lightning, it would just become like normal damage, like she would just switch down. And then maybe it would look slightly different if she would use like lightning and stuff that with it. And imagine how useful that would be, right, for certain specific bosses, right, and stuff like that. And then Landscape, of course, is it is an earth attack, but you still hit with it even if an enemy is flying, if I remember correctly. Maybe not. There's also the limit breaks that can of course miss, that Chaos has an attack that can actually miss because part of the attack is an earth attack. So that for whatever reason, I mean, it's not earth element, I don't think, but it only hits grounded targets. Okay, so that's 57. That's good. Double checking here again. Yeah, so we need 78,000 more, so that's 100,000 is needed to get 4 cut. 100,000 AP. Yeah, because 4 cut is used as a good material, because 4 cut is really about can also make battle square fairly easy as long as the command material doesn't get blocked. As long as command material doesn't get blocked and like the all material, because the all material of course is not like that it removes your all material actually, but it actually does it. It actually removes summon, it removes summon magic independent support. It removes all the material types basically from the characters, but yeah. Ignore will also be getting 1 more level, as will Sid. On that how it is that she kinda aims or whatever with it, you know, and stuff that the way she uses it, but yeah. But it would have been cool if they made like Final Fantasy, like if they like not really even an alternative universe, but imagine right if they did a Final Fantasy 7 that was more like okay, like the original plan, you know, like they take the character that the quote-unquote eventually became Claude. Was it detective? What was the detective called again? Was it something like mundane? Was it like something like Charlie or something, you know? That's a name. I forgot exactly what it was. Stuff that I used to know what it actually was and stuff that, you know, because yeah. Imagine if those names could have been like a code or something like that you could use like on Claude and stuff that, you know. Because if I remember correctly, also something that's interesting is I believe there are certain attack animations for certain other characters that work on other characters and stuff that, you know. Because it's interesting, of course, that young Claude is calling out Kate Seat in the data and stuff that, you know. Meaning the question is, does that mean, for example, that theoretically, if it would have remained in the code, could you have equipped, for example, the Buster Sword on Cold Kate Seat, would that have worked? And if Buster Sword works, would that mean that, for example, like Runeblade would work in one of the other weapons for Claude on Kate Seat? Because I imagine right that Kate Seat would be way better if Kate Seat could use Claude's weapons and stuff that, you know. Yeah, sure, you wouldn't be able to have 2 characters with ultimate weapon at the same time, you know. Stuff that, you know. But then of course then you could, for example, have Claude with like Apocalypse, and you could have like Kate Seat with Runeblade and stuff that. Or you could go with like okay, like Claude could have like ultimate weapon and Kate Seat could have Ragnarok. Or if you care about just normal material growth, then Claude with Ragnarok and Kate Seat with Heaven's Claude, you know. And imagine that also, right, because you will be able to use both Force Stealer, you will have to have 2 Force Stealers, stuff like that, because you know you can get more than one of them. Okay, we're over 60 now, I think. Yeah, 64 actually. But you know what? I'm also gonna use C for the guard sources. We're gonna test for guard sources. Just to see, okay, like how good is the actual guard source location and stuff like that. Because I know that if we go and do the grind in Medieval, then we will be gay. Then we could grind for level 99 and stuff like that, which would not be great to do and stuff like that, right? But it's normally the headhunter enemies that are the quote-unquote good enemies, so to speak. Maybe we don't go for 99 power sources, maybe, you know. What you see? So Claudius, is he one? Yeah, he will gain in 1 level. He will need, what is it? So that would be 600-700, yeah. So he needs 3 more battles, seed, until he gains level. Yeah, and that's really the issue with having to use Claude and stuff that, you know. Because I feel like the coding that you need to do to not have to have Claude is not super hard. Or at least since we know that Barrett can run around, or we know that Tifa can do it, we know that Sid can do it. But the question is, can they jump? We know that Sid has a jumping quote animation, but does Barrett have it, you know, and stuff like that? Does Tifa have it as well, you know, and stuff like that? In the parts. Yeah, I think that's yeah, almost 70 now. So right, once we have 99 power sources, we deactivate the encounters, we quote-unquote, we remove the cursing from her. She probably won't be needing cursing anymore at that point, because she will probably have enough strength on her own to use one-shot the that needs to be morphed. And Mega All with morph is just absolutely fantastic and stuff like that, because, you know, because it's the only way to really get morph all, because all material does not work. She is 93. What is she without curse ring? She is 58. Okay. That's crazy that curse ring had so much, but it's weird, like, why, like, was curse ring meant to turn into something a la Final Fantasy VI? And I'm guessing, right, that the ring that it would turn into would literally be like a combination of a bunch of things, probably. And it wouldn't add like the stat scale, like for example, it would have the 50 plus to something, but instead of being Vitality Spirit, it would be like every single stat. There would be Strength plus 50, Vitality plus 50, Spirit plus 50, you know, and stuff like that. Like, it would be all the stats plus 50, basically. It's not that what I'm guessing. I forgot exactly, because I believe the curse ring does not give you the same stat. Like, in every stat, right? It doesn't give you the same value, I don't think. I have 70 power sources. I actually think that she will get her level up sooner, because of the fact that Claude, for example, at this point, he only needs 11 to 8,000 or something for a level up still. So, you know, there is of course a point where you will need something like 30,000 for a level up, maybe even 40,000. I forgot what the highest was that you needed. Stuff that, because it does go exponentially. Like once we reach level 50, I believe there is a jump. I forgot when the jump happens in terms of the XP curve, that how much XP you need for a level and stuff like that, you know. Because the funny thing, at very low levels, you literally need like, what is it, level 1 to level 2 is 4 XP or something like that. Which, like, there aren't like super. I mean, technically, right, we could theoretically also, for example, have done an early grind, for example, for Tetra Elementals, from the Cactuar enemy, because the Cactuar enemy, I believe, gives you very little XP as well. And stuff like that, but yeah. So that's 72 power sources. Of course, if we had enemy lure here, this would go so much faster. Because of the fact that, yes, this is the only enemy you can meet here. Some people might say that even if you have like maximum strength, that you want the living still doesn't do 9,099 damage, you know, and stuff like that, because that's the thing like that. Doom living, yes, it hits a bunch of times, but its individual attack power is not particularly high, even with like the conformer equipped. Yeah, but then there are of course certain, for example, when it comes to Master Command is interesting because not all the quote-unquote command materia goes into Master Command. There are only certain specific things, like for example, a double cut materia does not go into Master Command. Does not get absorbed by Master Command, you will still have your double cut. But for example, slash all goes into it. And stuff that was very interesting. Because of the fact that, yes, with the Megal you can just get the slash all effect. But the more powerful version of slash all, of course, when slash all is mastered, you get access to flash. And flash, if I remember correctly, flash had a certain very weird thing about it. I forgot what it was that flash did. Because even slash all makes you able to hit, like if you have slash all, for example, you can hit opponents in the air. Slash all, even with the Megal material you can use it. But because it changes all of the commands you have to all. So for example, I could probably remove, but because it counts, I'm having 5 all materials. And that is right, I don't have 5, I only have 4. And stuff like that, but that is because I have the Megal. So Megal is like the all material. Except you know it's no. And we're gonna go fight the Banger Dragon. The thing is though that fight with the green dragon like enemy, or tiny dragon thing, or whatever you wanna call it. But you know the enemy, because you steal the diamond pin from it and stuff that, you know. And it's crazy, right, that even with this low XP, the quote-unquote grind is still effective and stuff that, even at these levels. Which I'm meaning if you do this actually at lower level, for example, like when you're done with Temple of Ancient, if you're really rushing things right, and you're done in Temple of Ancient, then you can use start this grind immediately, except of course it will take a long time for you to defeat the tank. Except I believe if you cast the Mai on it, you only need to cast the Mai once or twice, I believe, and then you can actually morph it. And I forgot what the actual morph formula is, if morph actually gets stronger from having more power. We know that it does with the conformer, but that's just because of the way the conformer works. Because conformer, I believe, ignores the morph. It ignores the morph formula. That's what conformer actually does, if I remember correctly. Okay, that's 79. Yeah, so she will be getting her level before the thing. So yeah. And I will allow Sid to actually use his limit break if he gets it and stuff that just, use so he can get dynamite faster. But learning the second limit break is only important if you're going for the fourth one, because otherwise it's not important. You just need all the limit breaks if you want to learn the fourth one, basically. There's my plus. That's 4 on the HP plus, right? Yeah, that's 4 on the HP plus. And of course, on material that doesn't give you very much, yeah, like the difference feels like way bigger between, or the difference is not as big between, of course, the triple and the double and stuff like that. But if you do it on something that gives you a lot, then the gap actually feels bigger and stuff that, even though it shouldn't be, stuff that. But it's just like what, like it's like 3,500 AP is what you get from down weapon, right, and ultimate weapon. But then, for example, from like Ruby and Emerald weapon, I forgot to see 10,000 that you get 10,000 AP or whatever it is. Maybe it's less than that. Still. Okay, we're 83. Yeah, 1 hour might actually be enough to do it. But I mean, we didn't go in immediately. We had to, equip the materia first and stuff that, and then it took a while to get, to stop getting encounters, stuff that, And then right there, wasted time like healing. I mean, we probably would have needed to heal at some point anyway, so. We are getting 1,300 gil every single time, meaning that 10 battles is 13,000 gil, and 100 battles would be 130,000 gil for 100 battles. Okay, that's pretty decent, actually. Because it's 1,300 gil. For all of this, for the tanks, yeah. But since there's an XP plus material, why couldn't there be, since there exists both enemy lure and enemy away, why couldn't there be like an XP decrease material or something like that? Or something like an XP zero material or something like that you could get, Because imagine if there was an XP0 material, and then basically in order to master the material you would need very little AP and stuff that, And then you could use the equip it on every single character, right, and stuff that, And then you could see, okay, what would the lowest actual level be that you could do, right? If you had a material like that, And now are we at 90 yet? No, not far away from 90, okay. Shabush. Change into power source. Right, then let's hope we can get one more battle here. Let's hope we can get one more battle before we run out of time for the first part. Part 30 battle. Right, I think we're at part 30. Shabushki. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this part, and I will see you all next time.